Hello, craft beer friends, and welcome to Season 11, Episode 9 of Tap to Craft Podcast. I am Denny Luce, coming to you from Boise, Idaho, and my partner in craft, the dog whisperer, and my favorite Florida man from Tampa, Florida, Mr. Kris McKenzie. How are you doing tonight, Kris? What's in your glass? And also introduce our guest.
There's so many things, Denny. I'm
I know.
good.
Can you keep track?
I'm okay. I'm good. I've got local Idaho beer. I've got some Bert's.
Okay.
Wow, crap. There we go. Bert's Brewing. Uh, Hello Sailor, their dry hopped lager in my glass, and I'm drinking it out of the Marker 48 new ninth
Anniversary?
anniversary, which is next
Nice.
weekend. I'm cool. I got a glass before it came
Early.
out. Thanks, Tina and Mo. Uh, And I'd love to introduce Dan Jordan, owner of White Dog Brewing over in, you guys are in Boise and Caldwell. Is that what I remember correctly?
Correct.
Nailed it. Did that all off the cuff too. So, Dan, welcome to the show, man. Thank you for coming on and hanging out with us.
Absolutely. Yeah, happy to be on.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a big fan of White Dog, and I'm looking forward to hearing some inside stories of White Dog and how you ended up in Boise, because that's cool. I mean, I know the story, but I want you to share it with our listeners, and it's gonna be fun getting to know you as well, talking about your craft beer journey and your experience in the craft beer industry. And I'm drinking. Well, actually, Dan, what are you drinking tonight? Are you
It's a good
drinking some
question.
White Dog beers?
No, ironically
Oh,
enough,
okay.
I had some friends come into town and they picked up some beer and brought it over to the house. It is from a Boise brewery. So it's from Western Collective and it's
Okay.
their Western Thunder light beer.
Okay.
Okay.
It's their premium lager.
It's
First,
funny.
Okay.
Denny was our last interview. Were they drinking their own beer?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I
Yeah.
feel like every time we interview a brewery or somebody affiliated with a brewery, they're never drinking their own beer. Like Hot Plate over in Massachusetts, she was drinking like some seltzer water. Like she wasn't even drinking beer. And then God, and you, Dan, you're like, I mean, it's close. It's Western
It's
Collective is always
it's
good.
free beer, right? You're
Yeah,
gonna drink what's
that's
free.
true. How are you gonna say
I
no?
yeah, I very rarely drink my own beer at home just because I get to drink
Because you
it
drink
at
it all
the
day.
brewery. And so I get to like try it all. And so I get to have all the different styles. And when I'm home, I usually want something just lighter. And because I
Hmm.
drink my own beer all the time, I want
That's
something different.
fair.
So,
Yeah.
That makes
Okay.
sense. I would do the same thing.
yep.
All right. Well, I'm also drinking a local beer. We're all drinking beers from Boise, which is great. I'm drinking from Sockeye Brewing, the Horsethief Hazy IPA. This is one of my go-tos when I want easy drinking hazy. And it was on sale. I mean, you can't beat a sale, right? A $9 six pack, that's a deal. So I grabbed it. I was going to grab some White Dog Brewing beers. In fact, it's a funny story. Let me just tell our listeners that I was supposed to grab beer and send it to Kris, and we were going to have, taste it on here and talk to Dan about it. And guess what? I dropped the ball. I thought the interview was actually going to be in next episode, and I had another 2 weeks to get it and get it to Kris. And then it turns out that I was wrong, so I didn't get it out there. So, but we're all drinking Boise beers,
Yeah.
and we're all going to have a good time. So, my mistake, but I will pick up some because my plan was to go to the brewery, have some beers, go to the cooler, grab a couple things. I'll still do that, and I'll send those to Kris so he can try them. I think I've sent you some White Dog in the past. Have I sent you stuff White
I
Dog in the
don't
past,
think
Kris? You
so.
remember?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, and that's my bad because I
But
should definitely send some of that.
I love their merch too. So like
Yeah. Okay. I can
dog
find some.
related. I
I mean,
train dogs
yeah,
for
we're
a
gonna.
living, Dan. So, if it's dog related or beer related, I'm totally in.
Yep. Us too. All over it.
Yeah.
That's
Excellent.
really nice.
All right. So before we get started into the meat of the show, we always want to let anyone new listening to the show know what Tap to Craft Podcast is all about. We are an educational podcast focused around celebrating all things craft beer because we want to assist you, our listener, along in your craft beer journey and adventures. And you are listening to episode 269, recording on Monday, November 11th, 2024. It is Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day to all the veterans out there. We appreciate your service. and cheers to you all. We are live on Facebook. If you would like to join us during one of our recording sessions, you can do that on the Monday prior to release at 8:30 Eastern Time. And in this episode, we are going to learn all about White Dog Brewing with Dan Jordan, as well as carrying on some great beer conversation. So let's get this conversation started, and let's learn about Dan's craft beer journey. So as I kind of gave you a little hint to before we started recording, we love to hear people's craft beer journey, their origin stories, and how their journey evolved, and we like to ask questions. So the first question is the easy one. How did you discover craft beer, or how did craft beer discover you? And what was that gateway beer that got you all into craft beer?
So I'm originally born and raised in Colorado, and a Coors fan. Coors fan from early days. My parents actually knew one of the Coors family, and so always kind of had a tie-in there. I went to school in Alaska, went to college up in Alaska, and we had a pub on campus, and this was back in the late 90s. And so craft beer, as far as, distributed widely and growing, wasn't a huge thing. And so at the pub, one of the pitchers of beer that you could get for $7 was Killian's Irish Red.
Oh, yeah.
And so that was craft beer back in the day,
It was fancy.
It was, yeah, you were either drinking, Bud or Coors or something like that up there, or you were drinking Killian's, and that was high end. And then they'd always have a couple IPAs and things like that, kind of early days. And so that, coming straight out of high school, drinking cheap beers you could get, and then getting Killian's, like I say, was my first, let's say, craft beer, even though it was big craft.
Yeah.
And then just kind of, once college hit, then you start easing into a few things and trying different stuff. I've always been, my favorite styles have always been ambers, Irish reds, those mid-range beers where they're not super light, but they're not super heavy. They're not low ABV. They're not high ABV. And I've always really liked that style. And so being in Alaska, Alaskan brewing was real big. So always loved the Alaska amber, loved their Alaska white, which was their winter style wheat beer. And then love their Alaska summer, which is, again, it's one of those medium range, not big, not light, not dark, not heavy. So that was kind of Alaskan beers were my Alaska. It's kind of my early.
And you were getting them kind of at the source.
Yep.
Instead of waiting for them to travel all the way down to the state.
Yep. Still probably 800 miles away from Juneau, but that's still local in Alaska. So
you didn't have to take a plane to get there, so you're fine.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
So what were you studying what brought you to Alaska to go to school in from Colorado? There's lots of schools to go to. What brought you to Alaska?
So very, very strange, very random. I studied what I studied when I was in school was natural resource management. So I had a emphasis in plant, animal, soil sciences, and recreation management.
Okay.
Always wanted to kind of go work with the Forest Service, Park Service, something like that. What took me there was I was a computer. No. That comes after I got there.
Computer kind of acts as a girl sometimes.
I was a competitive rifle shooter.
Nice.
And rifle shooting is an NCAA sport, just like basketball, football, anything else.
Okay.
Scholarship programs, all kinds of stuff. And Alaska had one of the top rifle teams at the time. And so that's what took me there was shooting. University of Alaska Fairbanks rifle team.
Nice.
And then that ties into my business partner and my wife now, who we were all on the rifle team together. So
okay.
Fortuitous. So
nice.
Excellent. Wow, you got a lot of shooters in this White Dog Brewing and
absolutely.
at home. So that's good.
Just don't piss them off.
Nope.
Yeah. All right. Well, you kind of answered this one a little bit, Dan. What's a favorite beer style for you guys or for you? And do you have a go-to beer?
It depends on where I am and what I'm doing.
Mm,
Uh, like I say,
well said.
so I love all the medium range beers. Uh, if I have a go-to style when I'm at the brewery or something, not really. It depends on my mood. I love different IPAs. I love obviously the mid-range beers. I still like, I mean, a lot of the times randomly enough, I still have like something like Coors Light in my fridge at home
Mm.
Don't worry,
because
we won't tell.
yeah, I know it sounds strange, but the way I describe it is when I'm at the brewery and I drink those big beers all the time.
Mhm.
When I'm home, I like having something a little lighter, and I think it kind of helps reset my palate.
Mm.
So that when I do drink craft beer, I can still I'm not on that bigger and bigger IPA train. I'm not on always chasing those different flavors. I
Yeah.
can kind of reset. And then when I do go out somewhere or I'm at the brewery, then I drink all those big flavorful beers. And I think that
Mhm.
I kind of do that almost on purpose.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No, that makes sense. That makes
yeah.
sense. Okay, well, how about this then? What style did you dislike at first, but have since grown to really enjoy?
Probably the big IPAs. Like a lot of people, it's hard to get into them to begin with. Uh, but I like the big old school West Coast IPAs. Uh, they're real malty, big 110
Mm.
IBU. I love the black IPA, uh,
Yes, yes.
like black IPAs, which are big, usually 8-9% beers.
You and
Uh,
Denny just became best friends, by the
Yeah.
way.
you'll like us on Black Friday then.
Yeah.
And so I really like those styles. But again, I don't want to drink them all the time, and I don't like
Yeah.
them all the time. But they're definitely some of my go-tos at the end of the night before I leave the brewery. Having one of those.
Okay. Excellent.
All right. Well, Dan, is there a brewery or a beer that doesn't get enough love?
Oh boy, White Dog doesn't get enough
Okay,
love.
now I didn't want to say it and be like, no, you can't name White Dog.
Uh boy, let's see.
Should really change that question, Denny. Other than your own, what's a
There you go.
brewery?
Uh, boy, I don't know. One of the one of the things that I love about all the different breweries is when you look at them as an owner and you go everywhere else. I always look at breweries oftentimes are a reflection of the owner,
Mm-hmm.
who they hire,
Mm-hmm.
how their staff acts, what their clientele is. And so I can't really say that a brewery doesn't get enough love because I think they get the love from the people that fit with their personality and their
Mm-hmm.
style, and so I think that it's the places that I may like, you may not,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
it's kind of but I think that it draws in the people that it's supposed to
Mm-hmm.
after, especially after people are open for, a year or two when they get enough exposure.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I just
It,
love walking in and seeing the staff and being like, oh man, I can tell that was hired by the owner because I know the owner,
yeah.
Yeah.
when you look at the clientele, you're like, oh yeah, that's why they hang out here, not at my place.
Yeah.
Mm.
I
All
think it's
right. Well,
kind of
then what's a hidden gem? A
Yeah, that's what I
hidden
was gonna
gem
say.
brewery.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. What's a hidden gem that you came across in your travels? Maybe going back to Colorado, visiting family, and you ran into a spot that just like, wow, how come no one's talking about this place?
I think some of the places up in Alaska, uh,
Okay.
Fairbanks isn't a big town, and there's uh, Black Spruce and Hoodoo Brewing in Fairbanks. I think is
Mm.
amazing. Classically trained German brewers. They
Okay.
brew almost exclusively German style beers, and their beer is really good.
There we
Uh,
go.
it's not a huge place. It's really expensive and hard to distribute if you're in Alaska.
Yeah.
So it's a local place. They always have a little German food truck there that does all German food. Uh,
The Alaskan German food truck. That's
yeah,
that's unique.
Uh, I spent because of my shooting career, I spent a lot of time over in Germany when I was in
Oh,
my formative years, and so that's where I got into German beer styles a lot. That's
okay.
why wheat beers, uh, and so I have very much an affinity for German style beers. And so that's one of the reasons why I like Hoodoo up there.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. Okay. How about this? Is there a brewery or a beer or a style that is no longer around that that you wish would make a comeback? Either a
Oh,
brewery, a beer, or a style that just kind of faded away that you wish would come back.
odd hit that I happen to have some friends in town from Colorado this week, and they asked me if I wanted anything. And one of my favorite beers of all time, it was a Coors beer, but it was called Batch 19. And
Oh, that sounds familiar.
yeah, it was a lost beer style to the Coors family. Uh, and they were doing experimenting with new recipes way back when, in
Hmm.
like the 1800s, and they were running through different batches. And this was batch 19. And it's an amber, it's a Bock, it's that
Okay.
mid-range style that I like. And some point in the 90s, they uncovered this slip of paper that had this batch 19 recipe on it. And that's what they brewed. But you can't find it anymore. Uh, even can't even find it they used to distribute it up to Alaska and stuff, but that beer for me is fits right down that middle range.
Mm.
Okay. That's a good one there. See, you just
Yeah.
pulled out something that no one's mentioned in all the times we've asked this question. So that's great.
And I know it's big, and I know it's big beer, and I know a lot of people hate that, but
No, no, it's
it's
okay.
like it's like a craft, because it's such a small, limited release. It's not a widely distributed. It's not
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
big.
I mean, I would say one of the, again, non-craft, but it was like you mentioned, Killian's Red. Mine was Henry Weinhardt's was a
Yeah,
bigger beer, but they made, at the time back in the late 80s and early 90s, they made beers that were unique
yeah.
to, they tasted different than every other big beer. So, that's one of the ones that I kind of miss. I miss, going over and get that Boar's Head Red lager, which I really enjoyed.
Here.
I have a beer sign from a bar sign I have here on my wall that it's a mirrored uh, bar sign that I just love. But no, everyone that sees it doesn't. No one knows what it is because it's been extinct for so many years. But
Absolutely.
okay.
All right. Well, this one's kind of tough for brewery owners,
Oh,
Denny. I was
No,
just
no,
thinking
no,
about
no.
this.
I know. I first had it marked off, but because Dan didn't have a say in this, I thought maybe he, might want to answer it. So go
No.
ahead and give it to him.
All right. If you were able to name a beer and or brewery, what would you call it?
Because you didn't come up with White Dog. I know that.
I did not.
Yeah.
My,
So
my,
so maybe
my,
you would maybe you do have a brewery name that you have in the back of your head that one day you would love to, to maybe open up,
Or a beer name too.
or a beer name that you haven't had a chance to choose.
oh, well, I don't know if I can say most of them. Uh,
We speak French here occasionally. It's okay.
yeah, we actually at one point, my business partner and uh, I can't remember a lot of them now, but we had an entire list. We always said if we had FU money that we didn't have to worry about the
Hmm.
public's view on anything, and we didn't have to worry about being canceled on anything. We didn't have to worry
Yeah.
about any kind of anything.
Yeah.
We had a whole list of beer names that were all just as basically uncouth as you could get.
Ooh, I'd love to see that
Now,
list one
oh
time.
yeah. And it was like calling out, the Yellowstone idiots that get gored by the buffalo and
Oh
Yes.
yeah. Yeah.
calling out bad stuff like that. So I can't remember them. I would have to go back and find them, but those were the lost beer names that's what I would give you, but most of them again were not politically correct by any means.
Yeah.
You guys are my kind of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
No, I think I understand what you're talking about because every time I see one of these stories, especially lately, there's been a few with people walking off into the, falling into the
In the
geyser or
springs or the
whatever. Yes,
geysers.
I'm just like, what is wrong with you people? Somebody walking over too close to the falls and falling over and disappearing. I'm like, Come on, man. Don't
That's
be
be
dumb.
that's because there's no warning labels on the
Yeah.
geysers. Well, there are, but
Yeah. Yeah.
They
It's
didn't
like,
see them as they were to snapping as they were taking their
yeah,
selfies.
they were doing one of
yeah.
these,
Yeah.
trying to.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Well,
like it, it's like I love people that have the guts to do that kind of stuff. Like you that did polygamy porter, and
yeah.
Yeah,
like that. Just they're willing to push the boundaries a little bit, and I appreciate that sometimes.
I have a favorite one that always comes to mind. It's from Oscar Blues. It's called 1050.
Yep, absolutely.
What
The
the FIDY
McFarland
stands for.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love that. Love that.
Yeah,
I I think what's the brother? What's the brother? What's the brewery that has the brown note
Oh,
and it's in Michigan, right?
no, it's in Kentucky.
Oh, is it Kentucky?
The brown note and
Against the Grain.
yeah,
Against the Grain Brewing.
Citra ass down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Citra ass down. The brown note. I mean, they have some good names that
brown
I'm
note's good
surprised
too.
make it through uh, the you know the committee or the person who can approve that type of stuff. But
right.
yeah, so it can be done. I mean, I think Belching Beaver has. I mean, Belching Beaver
Well, belching
itself
beaver in itself.
is a name of a brewery that is really kind of adolescent. But hey, everyone loves a good Belching Beaver joke. But even some of their names early on, they've cleaned up and now have names that are not quite so risque and off-putting.
When you're small, you can do that. You can
Yeah.
you can be a little more risque when you're small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was pretty easy, Dan. That wasn't too hard for you, right? We got through your craft beer journey. Is there anything else that we didn't ask you about your journey through craft beer that is interesting or that's unusual that people wouldn't necessarily know about?
I'll say one of the funny things that
Okay.
it ties in. My wife and I got married in 2009, and that was 7 years before I had anything to do with the brewery.
Okay.
And when we got married, we each chose what to engrave in the other person's wedding ring. And
Okay.
so again, 7 years before having anything to do with the brewery, she chose to engrave in my wedding ring, "I love you like you love beer." It's, it's been a long time coming, but funny that would have happened before any of this stuff would have.
That's awesome. She sounds like a great lady
Oh,
that
absolutely.
has a good sense of humor too. That's awesome.
I engraved in hers, "Don't lose this."
If lost, please return
And
to.
oh, in her second one, I did her phone number. Yeah, because so
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay, Dan. My wife lost her first wedding ring as well, so I understand. Okay, so that's your craft beer journey. That's great. We got to get know you a little bit, Dan, and now we are going to just jump right into the brew buzz. We don't, we like to we like to learn about the brewery now. And the Brew Buzz is devoted to discussing various beer-related topics. This week, we're going to learn all about White Dog Brewing with you, Dan. So, White Dog Brewing was started in 2015 in Bozeman, Montana, by brothers and Wyoming natives Troy and Joe Moore. So, Dan, how did White Dog end up in Idaho? If it started in Bozeman, how we end up in Boise?
yeah. So Troy was my college roommate and on the rifle team with me.
Hmm.
So that's how I got involved with all of
Okay.
it. Uh, Troy and Joe. So Joe, the younger brother, he ended up in Bozeman, uh, and kind of through a weird set of things. Troy was in the oil and gas world and has a kind of a chemical engineering, uh,
Okay.
biochem science background, and so they brewed a couple of times. Troy would always go up to Bozeman whenever he had time off, and they got a homebrew kit and they brewed on it a handful of times. And
Yeah.
Troy said, "This is dumb. I can't make beer on this." So he
Famous
bought,
last words.
yeah. So he bought a commercial pilot system, and
Jeez.
and that's when they started brewing. And he just, being the science nerd, he couldn't
Mhm.
handle the inconsistencies of a normal homebrew kit. So they brewed on that for 7 or 8 years. And it just kind of a weird, dumb luck, random thing finding the location in Bozeman, and just decided to jump in and open up a brewery there. And so that's how Bozeman got open.
Okay.
So really weird, and our whole lives, mine and Troy's lives have been completely weird and random. So uh, Troy was coming over to Boise just to visit Joe's in-laws.
Oh, well, that's
So
odd.
yeah. So
Got that?
yeah. So uh Joe's lady friend, now wife, JC, her sister lives here in Boise. And her sister and husband are awesome.
Oh.
They live up in the Eagle area. And so Troy was just coming over to get out of town, come over here. And before he left, the guy that they used to buy growlers from said, "Oh, you're going over to Boise. Well, if you ever need a commercial real estate agent over there, let me know. That's what my brother-in-law does."
Oh.
And he's like, "Why would I ever need a commercial real estate agent in Boise?" So he cruises over here, and they park in this parking lot in downtown Boise on a Saturday night and go down to 8th Street and booze it up. And they come back late that night, and the in-laws say, "Oh, do you remember whatever her name was, Susie from high school?" Because they all went to high school together. "She used to work at this place that we're parked in the parking lot." And Troy said, "Well, what was it?" And they said, "Well, it used to be a brewery. It used to be Table Rock, which was the oldest brewery in Boise, opened in 1991. Was there for 25 years, 1991 to 2014, and then uh, they closed, and then it was a place called Grind Modern Burger,
Mm-hmm.
and they had Postmodern Brewery in the back, and they were only there for like 16 or 18 months.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know the whole thing of what happened there, but they had closed suddenly, and the place was closed up, and it had only been closed for a couple of days, so it wasn't even on the
Oh.
market. And Troy looked in the windows, sees all the brewing equipment in there, and the next day he calls me. My wife and I happened to be in New Zealand for our 7-year late honeymoon. Uh, we went to New Zealand. We were flying back. I hit the ground in LA, and there was a message from Troy on my phone. And we had always wanted to go into business together. I had almost left my career in Alaska a couple times to go down and work with him in oil and gas. Like we always wanted to. And so he calls me the next day on Sunday, and there's just a message that says, "Hey, what do you think about Boise? I think I found a spot for a second location." So I call him back uh, Monday morning. And so it's kind of weird because my father-in-law, he snowbirds to the Boise area from Alaska.
Oh,
So he spends the summers up in Alaska, and he comes down and does the winters here. So
they're a little more mild.
yeah, much more. And yeah, he got tired of the 40 and 50 below zero up there. So Amber, so we had a connection here in town. They had a connection here in town. We find this location. My wife and I were just kind of, we were ready for a new adventure, something different. And so Monday morning, Troy calls Growler guy and says, "Hey, what's your brother-in-law's name? I need a commercial real estate in Boise, agent in Boise." So he tracks down building owner. Building owner says, "I'm leaving town for 6 weeks. You want to tour the place? I'll give you first right of refusal, and just call my office, get a key." So Troy drives back over. So that was on April 23rd when Troy called me. I don't know why I still remember that, but I
That's
do.
a good memory.
Troy drives back to Bozeman. He comes back 2 weeks later, and whatever it was, Skype or FaceTime, whatever it was at the time, he called me in Alaska and did a walkthrough on the building. We kind of looked at everything.
Mm-hmm.
About a month later, my wife and I flew down to Bozeman, checked out Bozeman. We drove to Boise, checked out Boise, did all the demographics research, talked about everything. A month later, I quit my job, and a month after that, I moved to Bozeman first,
Okay.
Was only there for about a month and a half, and then I moved to Boise and I started construction on the space here.
Mm.
So never really a plan. It wasn't like a 5-year plan to open a brewery in Boise. It was just kind of Troy and I have always kind of looked for the right opportunities in our lives and jumped at them. And it's just seemed like the right time, right place. And being able to walk into a turnkey brewery uh, that saved all that money and time of not having to
Yeah.
do build out. And Boise obviously was a growing city. Uh, cool history to the building, which I thought was really cool. And at the time, we were like the third brewery in downtown. Uh,
Hmm.
Boise Brewing was down there, 10 Barrel was down there, and Payette was down the road, and that was about it. So
Hmm.
there really wasn't much in the downtown area. So it just seemed like a awesome opportunity and a cool spot. So that's how it came about.
Okay. So, wow, there's a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
and so much random too.
no,
So
no, no. It's yeah, but it brings so many questions. So, tell me that you ended up in Alaska. Your job was something into business management, right? Is that what you were doing in Alaska? You didn't go with the rifle shooting or the natural resources. You went to business management because all of a sudden deciding to open up a brewery, which you don't have any experience in brewing. I'm assuming, right? You
no,
didn't have any.
Troy's
So
the brewer. Yeah, he's the mad scientist behind things. Yep.
okay, so I imagine you must have been a little bit nervous just jumping in with 2 feet without having experience in owning a business, running a brewery. Had you ever? I assume the reason you went to Bozeman for a few weeks was just to understand what it was to running a brewery and at least that in that smaller size space. So can you explain or give a little background on what you were feeling?
Yeah.
Besides excitement for doing your own thing, you had to be some nerves in there, and what you did to prepare for going in and being part owner of a brewery.
Yeah. So so to kind of start from the beginning of that,
Hmm.
so I was on the college rifle team. I went on to be a professional shooter for a number of years. I lived at the Olympic Training Center in Colorado
Oh,
Springs, traveled the
okay.
world. That's what I did for a living, for the U.S. shooting team for a while. I ended up, when I retired from my career, I ended up taking the coaching job at the University of Alaska,
Okay.
Fairbanks, for the rifle team. So that was my whole career, was guns and stuff like that. When I went back to school, or when I was coaching, at some point I said, I have free tuition, I should use it to do
Oh, very smart.
Smart.
uh, I had my natural resource management degree. uh, Athletics is not always the most stable career, right? You get a new athletic director coming in,
Mm-hmm.
you get budgets, you get whatever. You can always do something. So I decided that to kind of hedge my bets and protect myself, and also because of the conversations that Troy and I had had, I got a second degree in what's called process technology.
Okay.
And think oil and gas world, water treatment,
Mm-hmm.
manufacturing, like anything that involves pumps, pipes, machinery, uh, PLCs, and programming and stuff like that. So I got a degree in that. Uh, my whole life I've been an entrepreneur. Always, from the time I was a little kid,
Mm-hmm.
starting landscaping businesses, and always,
Mm-hmm.
I never wanted a normal job and never wanted to work for somebody else. And my dad was a businessman and kind of entrepreneur, and so kind of had that in my blood already. Troy in the oil and gas world had a lot of business experience on that side of things, and he and his brother had the brewing background. I brewed for about 6 months, and I said, "This is dumb." I was like, "I'm an extremely functional person. Like, everything I do is very functional to me. And that's the best way I can describe it. So when I looked at it, I was like, I'm spending all this time cleaning stuff,
Hmm.
brewing, waiting weeks to see if it's good when I can just go to the store and buy beer. Like, why am I doing
Preach.
it? So as much as I loved beer, I didn't want to be the one making it. Uh, I'm I'm a total worker.
Hmm.
Uh, and I tell people I would rather be cleaning the bathrooms than sitting at my computer doing computer work.
Mm.
Yeah, I love doing the construction. I love managing the staff. I like working in the tap room. I love doing the work stuff and cleaning and all of that. I love having a random day. Every single day is random. I
It's
never know
never the
what.
same.
So that's what I enjoyed about entrepreneurship and the concept of the brewery.
Hmm.
And so when I agreed to jump into Boise, it was on the operations side. So
Okay.
Joe, the other brother, he stayed in Bozeman to run the Bozeman and do the brewing in Bozeman, and Troy moved to Boise to be the brewer here, while I kind of ran the operations of stuff. So
Okay.
that's how I got involved, and that's what my background was.
Okay. So that's what your main role is just in the operations of the daily operations of a brewery and do you also do the logistics for getting supplies, ingredients, malt, barley, hops, that
That's on.
stuff too?
So yep. So that's Troy and Matt now. So they
Okay.
all of that side of. So they handle everything in the brewery side of stuff. I do all the logistics and supplies for the two locations, and kind of bounce back and forth. I'm more in Boise now, than at one point in time. I was more in Caldwell. Now I'm more in Boise. Hired a manager out there to run that location, but I still go out 2, 3 times a week. Uh, and so, yeah, but my side's on the operations of stuff. I
Okay. So
hanging
so
out
you
with, sorry.
yeah, yeah. So you just mentioned a couple things, and one thing is that when we first started, you had Bozeman, then you had Bozeman and Boise. Then all of a sudden, Bozeman is no longer around, and now you have a spot in Caldwell. So, what was your motivation for shutting down or no longer operating out of Bozeman and focusing solely in Idaho?
Bozeman got too expensive.
Oh,
Uh,
it's a,
yeah, we have, uh, for example, we have 3 times the square footage and 3 times the brewing capacity in Boise for
hmm.
less than what we paid in Bozeman.
Wow.
It was not, things got so expensive in Bozeman because, it blew up, a lot over
Yeah,
the decade.
yeah.
Uh, and we were on downtown Main Street. We were right downtown. A really beautiful spot. Troy and Joe did a phenomenal
Mm.
spot, build out on that location. It was just so expensive to operate there. Labor was higher. It was expensive to ship there because it was a small town in the middle of nowhere. Like, it
Hmm.
was not an easy location to be. And so we actually ended up selling it right before COVID hit.
Oh.
Uh,
Okay,
we
good
just
good
got
timing.
we got dumb lucky. Yeah, it was like 3 months before COVID hit. It was stupid. So then we wanted to have a second location because it just makes sense. The more beer you sell in house, uh, is
More
that's
profit.
highest margin.
Yeah.
So we started looking for a while, and we wanted something, uh, close enough to manage easily, but far enough away that it wasn't scalping our own customers.
Hmm.
And so Caldwell is it's just far away that everybody in Caldwell says, "Why would I go to Boise?
Yeah.
I don't go to." And everybody in Boise is like, "Why would I go all the way to Caldwell?"
Yeah.
But for me to run back and forth, it's like 30 or 45 minutes. Like, it's not a big deal. To a lot of people, that seems like a long ways. I'm used to long drives. It doesn't bother me at all. I don't care to do that a couple times a week. So that's why Bozeman is no longer, and why we have Caldwell.
Okay. How long ago did you open the Caldwell location?
December of 2021.
Oh, it's been open that long?
Went on 3 years this year.
Wow.
Wow, I had no idea. I thought it was like a recent thing. So and it's going well. You're getting, I mean, it's both sites are, are thriving and supporting each other, or supporting each of the sites. You're not having any issues because I mean, Caldwell is growing. It's expanding pretty rapidly. So I'm sure there's beer drinkers there that want to have some good craft beer in Caldwell as well.
Yeah, there's not much out there.
Yeah.
You got Crescent Brewing out there, and then Mother Earth and Nampa, and that's about it for the Nampa Caldwell area.
Mm.
You really think like people look at it sometimes and they're like, oh, Boise, it's oversaturated. You got all these breweries. Like there are giant holes in this town
Yeah.
that don't have breweries anywhere near around them.
Yeah.
That's kind of out in that area. It's a completely different customer base and
Hmm.
demographic in Caldwell than what Boise is. So it's kind of different. But in Caldwell, we're right on Indian Creek Plaza. So we're just coming into the Christmas light season out there, and it's nuts. Like it is insane, the Christmas season, with all the lights and the ice rink and stuff like that. And we back right up to all that. And then
Okay.
summertime, they have all the concerts and farmers markets, and
Hmm.
it's Indian Creek Plaza is awesome, and it's just growing like crazy out there. So that's why we kind of looked out there. We
Nice. No,
didn't go.
no.
Meridian was too expensive.
Yeah.
There was other breweries around. We looked at places in Nampa and in Caldwell, and eventually chose Caldwell because of Indian Creek Plaza. It was just a cool setup.
Yeah. No, no, no. It totally makes sense. I'm surprised not more breweries thought about that. I mean, glad, and you got out there first, and that's going to be successful to have that. And Nampa is tough. We just lost 2C Family Brewers, which was really sad because they were making some fantastic beer. I just don't think they got enough traffic through there. Besides the ones that where they're frequently visited customers. But I mean, every time I went out there, I was blown away by the beer. But it just wasn't convenient for us to get out there, right? It's just not easy, especially like after work when you're trying to fight all that traffic going that direction. And it's just so it had to be a weekend or something. But it was sad. But I think that's as you mentioned, yeah, Mother Earth is out there, but they're in that industrial area warehouse, which is not fun to get to, or to partake in beverages. And then Crescent Brewing,
I
they're
love
out
Jerry.
there,
Yeah,
but logistically
Jerry's awesome.
again, yeah.
Yeah,
But
Jerry was the first brewer I met when I came to town, and so
oh
we've all
really?
together and had a good relationship. And yeah, it's a cool history to Crescent Brewing. It's been
Hmm.
a name, and it's been around for a long, long time in that area. So it's kind of cool to see him still keeping that going.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, good. Okay, Kris. Sorry, I've been chatting away. You wanna ask Dan some questions still?
Sure, I would love to. I'm just over here sipping on my beer, enjoying the conversation. So Dan, where did the name White Dog come from?
Yeah. So when Troy and Joe were originally naming the brewery, uh, they wanted something that was kind of innocuous, not location dependent, so that
Yeah.
if we wanted to move, we could. Wanted something that was uh, going to be fairly appealing to everybody. Uh, and I always use, and it's funny that I'm drinking a Western Collective beer right now. So Carrie had a different brewery down in Texas called
Hmm.
Guns and
Yep.
Well, that works if you want to open a brewery in Texas, Oklahoma,
Yeah,
Arkansas,
yeah.
right? You want to take Guns and Oil and try to open it up in a city picket that's a little bit
Hmm.
more aggressive. It's probably not the best name.
Yeah.
So
No.
always kind of looking at things for the potential of expansion, right? So how could we keep that? And then how could we have something that would appeal to a lot of people? Uh, and so they had a whole list of names and they were just going on the patent and trademark website.
Mm.
Because once you start going interstate and cross lines, that's when you got to worry about stuff. So they were on the US patent and trademark website and they were going down this whole list of names of all these different things. and it just taken. And Joe and JC had a white lab named Cammy, and Cammy came over, and Joe always called her White Dog. So she came over while they're doing it. He's like, "Oh, you're such a pretty little white dog." And they're like, "White dog?" So look it up. Boom. Nobody had
It's
taken white.
available.
And so that's how White Dog Brewing came to be after Cammy the White Dog.
Man, I could never name anything after my dog. I always call him an asshole. Oh man, that's awesome though. And I love all these like circumstantial just happenings with just everything with you guys. It's my pretty little white dog. You know what? Let's check that one out.
Yep. That's our whole lives. It's the way it goes.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So we were kind of talking before you hopped on here about you guys rebranding your can labels, right? But you guys had some pretty great artwork, depicting like different people, dogs, outdoor life. What was the big idea behind about changing the artwork? What made you guys decide to do that?
Yeah, so
Big change.
the artwork was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time when we got open and started canning, when you looked at the beer on the shelves, all the can labels were pretty simple. And so for marketing, it was like, well, how do you stand out on the beer shelf?
Mm-hmm.
You'd be something different than what's already up there. And so our artist's name is Lonnie, and she's amazing. So she would literally go do a photo shoot with the girls and the dogs, and then do the pinup illustrations for the different can labels.
I mean, I like it.
It was amazing.
Great.
Yeah, they're awesome. And so that was at the time, those labels stood out on the shelf. And they were incredible. We still love the artwork, still use it for different stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It was expensive.
Mm.
It took Lonnie time to do custom artwork, and it took a long time to get them done. And then because they were full color prints, it was also expensive to do labels and stuff like that. But they were awesome, and they were worth it. As time went on, can labels got busier and busier and busier. And so we said, well, those labels don't stand out anymore. They're beautiful if you get up close to them and look at them, but they don't stand out in a sea of busy cans. And so at the time, we had 6 or 7 different styles of beer on most of the beer shelves. It was just busy in the beer coolers. So we looked at that and said, well, how do you stand out in this market now? And we kicked it over to Lonnie, and it was going back to more of a retro look, which was becoming more popular at the time, retro styles. And when you took 6 or 7 of those retro style can labels and put them on the shelf, they were extremely recognizable. They stood out because they were so simple, but still looked classy and kind of had a clean look to them, that it's all kind of marketing decisions and trying to keep up on how things look and what everybody else is doing, and then trying to do something a little bit different.
Yeah, I've noticed that's been a trend in a lot of, rebranding of brands that have been around for a long time. They just decide to go and do what you did, something that is more simple, stylistic. That
Simply
like
put.
the Shoots. Yeah, the Shoots did it.
I mean,
Locally, Sockeye did it. Payette did it. Even Western Collective, they started off having something that was kind of branded all the same type of more simplistic branding. So it makes sense. When I saw the new branding, I was disappointed that you didn't have that great artwork, because the great artwork did stand out. But I completely understand why you decided to go a different route, because it is, it can get expensive, and you're not getting, you you mentioned that you're not on, you kind of cut back on some of this distribution. You're not in as many shelves and stores. And if you're not doing that and you're selling a lot of your stuff out of your own coolers, then it makes sense that you don't need to spend that extra money because, people are going to be able to easily find. I love it when did you also have specific colors for the specific beers, so you know that the yellow can is this, and because I love that too, because that makes it so easy just to go and
Yeah.
pick out the one you want because you know the color and not have to try to read each one and make sure you get the right beer.
Yeah, and that's directly tied to also when you asked me what I would name a beer, we
Hmm.
don't name our beers.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, that's why I asked, because I know you don't name your beer. Well, you do have citrialic IPA, right? You have
Yeah,
that one,
citrate. Yep.
citraic.
So
Yeah.
citraic, and it's a combination of Citra and Mosaic hops.
Okay, that makes
That's
sense.
why I called
Yeah.
it citraic. Uh,
Okay.
the only beer that we really have named is the river beer, and
Yeah.
that's our lager. Uh,
Yeah.
and the reason that we don't, that was the other reason with the pinup girls, the artwork was amazing, but to know what style of beer
Hmm.
it was got buried in the artwork.
Yeah.
And it drives me crazy, me and Troy, all of us collectively, to go to the store and look at a wall of beer and have no idea what any of the styles are
Yeah.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's buried in the font, or they
Hmm.
have such crazy names that you
Yeah.
don't know what it is, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so when we went to that more simplistic font and you looked up at the wall and it says, "Hey, White Dog Brewing, Hazy IPA," you know
Hmm.
exactly what you're getting.
Yeah.
Scotch ale, the blackberry sour, the blood
Yeah.
orange Hefeweizen, right?
Yeah.
And so again, as a customer and a consumer, when we stood back from the beer coolers, I know I like amber ales and Irish reds.
Hmm.
Well, I'm not going to go up and read 100 beer labels and have to. I don't have to wear reading glasses yet, thank God. But if I had to find out which one was an amber and which one was an IP, which one was an Irish red, if I can just, when I go to the store now, I look up and, oh, that's the one I want. That's the
Yeah.
style I want. Oh,
Yeah.
that's that. And I don't even look at all the artwork. I don't get buried in trying to look and search for half an hour for the beer that I want.
Yeah.
I want and that one. Boom, I'm done.
Yeah.
Our attention spans have leaked into our beer selection choices now.
Again, I'm a functional person. That's me not like
No, I mean that and it is like people will tell me like if they're gonna buy a gift for me, they're like, "Am I gonna use it? And is it something cool?" So it has to be functional. But no, I was just thinking about it. Like you go from these beautiful can art and labels and things where Lonnie's making custom art pieces for you guys, and we joke all the time. Like we'll be in a looking at a beer shelf and go, "Oh, that's a cool label. Let's buy that one."
Yeah, sure.
But on the flip side, when you're like, I don't want another IPA, I don't want a stout, I don't want a porter, let's get an amber or some kind of like brown. Oh, brown ale, amber
Hmm.
ale, and it's red or brown. Like it makes it so much more simple.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Well,
just
So,
it's just all changing. Who knows what we'll do in the future?
yeah.
Marketing changes, right? And you have to adapt and keep relevant to what's happening. But
yeah,
the reason why we don't name our beers didn't have anything to do. Uh, it became a secondary thing on the shelf, but it goes back to that naming convention. Is you've got what 8,000 craft breweries now, however many there are, and they all have how many beers, and they all name them. So to find a beer name that's not taken,
Hmm. Yeah.
especially if you want to go interstate with it and you
Hmm.
need that trademark on that name, that becomes incredibly difficult when you start naming beers particularly.
yeah,
Hmm.
So we looked at it from the functional side, from the sales side, from the ease of customer side to that interstate commerce side. Like we tried to look at all of that. So it was all very intentional. It wasn't just the easy out. We did that on purpose.
Yeah.
it's funny that you mentioned that because before I hopped on the show and started talking to you guys. We have a brewery here in Tampa called Magnanimous Brewing. They make great stuff. We just got done at a beer festival this past weekend. Now, Fort George Brewing, they're in Washington, right, Denny? Put out a beer. Fort George?
No, Fort George is Astoria.
Oregon. Okay.
Yeah.
So Fort George put out a beer called Magnanimous IPA.
Oh.
Magnanimous Brewing makes an IPA called Juice Lord, which is great. But I mean, those guys, they make a lot of IPAs. So it's really cool to, not cool, but it's interesting to see based off of what you just said. I saw something similar happen an hour ago.
Say that's your
Yeah.
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 All of a sudden you get a cease and desist letter from
somebody or it's a reason to collaborate, Dan.
Yeah.
We do West Coast and East Coast. It's a reason to collaborate. Fort George and Magnanimous Brewing. I mean,
yeah, but you brought up a good point, Kris, though.
Come on, Charlie. You can make that happen.
Yeah, with a brewery like Magnanimous that does so many IPAs, you have to have something that makes them unique from one to the other. So for them, they kind of have to have unique names. But for a brewery like White Dog, who does, yeah, they do. Now, how do you differentiate between your different, like, West Coast hazy? Because I know I've been at the brewery and I've seen a number of like hazy pale, hazy IP, a couple of hazy IPAs, fresh hop ones. I mean, they are named. I guess you do sometimes, like you did the Citriatic, you do sometimes do a combo name, I guess, that differentiates it from the other IPAs that you have. But do you run into problems where a style that is a little bit different, you don't want to use the same name for?
Yeah, and we'll tweak them a little bit, right? We've had the 5-hop IPA. Yeah. So we'll find ways to tweak them, but they're still obvious what they are without getting into the fun, strange names sometimes.
Okay. So Kris, let me ask this next question, just because I want to, do a little premise here, or work into it.
Go
you
for
don't
it.
You don't have the history about it.
I don't.
So Dan, when you were building out the old location that used to be Table Rock, it was then converted into a hamburger place that also served beer, that had some kind of a kitchen thing there, I'm assuming. You made a choice at that time when you're building out that, hey, I don't want to be involved in food, production. I want to focus on beer, but I want to have food for our customers. And you came up with this idea of bringing in a permanent food truck, basically, that was just there all the time, parked in the alley between the two buildings, that would be able to serve your customers' needs for food. So could you explain, the process on getting that, making that the choice, and finding the right food truck that was willing to commit full time to, to being your food source for the brewery in smoking time?
Yep. Yeah, we didn't know food, right? We knew beer. And so that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to do the beer, and the brewery at the time it was very tight. There was no space back in the brewery. It was Table Rock was a big restaurant with a brewery in the back. Ryan Modern Burger was a restaurant with a brewery in the back, and we wanted to be more of a brewery, and so we blew out the walls. So gave us more room in the back so we could get pallets back there. We could put a canning line back there. We needed the cold storage. And we needed that production space. We needed to be able to store all that. So by ripping out the kitchen, that gave us the ability to grow the brewery side of things, to be able to do more distribution at the time, to right now be able to run 2 locations, and make enough beer to do that. But we still wanted food. We had the food truck experience in Bozeman, and it's kind of a nightmare, to be honest with you, right? The food doesn't always fit the style. you know, beer drinkers want pub food, right? It's just that's what they want. And so you get some spicy Thai food truck that comes in, and it fit your clientele? Does it
Mhm.
fit what you do? Uh, at the same time, food truck owners own food trucks because they like the flexibility,
Yeah.
right? I totally get it and I understand it, but that means some days they don't show up, or you can't find
True.
somebody to schedule, and so now all of a sudden you're just a brewery. Well, how do you get somebody to drink two, three, four beers without eating anything?
Mhm.
And so to be able to have that draw and have it there, and we looked at it as, if we can find somebody that's permanent, then we always have food. We don't have to do the scheduling. We don't have to worry about the styles. We can work with them to actually fit the menu to what we want.
Mhm.
And so when we were doing the build out on the space, there's three spaces in the building. It's a huge building. And we had the brewery, and one of the other spaces at the time was long drop hard cider. So they
Mhm.
were turning it into a cider house. And both of us, Kris, we both wanted food on site. Kris happened to know a guy named Dave. Dave had a background as a chef. So Dave took over the third space in the building and opened a bar. So he's got Gas Lantern Drinking Company, which is a wine and craft cocktail bar.
Mhm.
So I always say they're the suits and ties and we're the jeans and t-shirts. And so you've got the three spaces now that are all different, not liquor concepts, but different concepts, but it's still all alcohol related.
Mhm.
So you got the hard cider, you got the bar, and you got the brewery. Dave could do food, amazing food. He does amazing food. And so instead of getting a little food truck to put back there, he looked all over the place and ended up buying a 42-foot long mobile kitchen basically out of Texas and having it hauled all the way around. That's what is the kitchen.
Mhm.
So it's a permanent, it doesn't travel anywhere.
Yeah.
It is technically a food truck, absolutely. But Dave runs the food. They're his employees. We collaborate on the menu, make sure it works with both of us. Uh, and we get a cut of all the food sales. He gets a place to sell a whole bunch of food without having to have a big restaurant. And we get to sell a lot more beer because people come in for the food.
Yeah.
So, and then we collaboratively, and it's really cool because our customers, or we have customers come in and they have family with them. And they say, "Oh, well, do you serve liquor?" "No, we don't. But right next door, we got Gaslight Drinking Company. They got craft cocktails and fancy wines." And so long, and then, "Oh, well, we don't really drink beer. We really like ciders." "Oh, perfect. They're Long
Hmm.
Drop ciders right over here." Well,
Mhm.
Long Drop ended up closing.
Yeah.
Uh, we took that space over for a little while as a private space, and we did
Mhm.
private events, parties over there, business meetings. We did all kinds of stuff. And then COVID hit, completely killed all of that. So we gave the space up, and now it's really cool because Dave's son uh, opened up a coffee and breakfast place
Okay.
over in that spot. So now you have coffee, breakfast, and brunch, the brewery with all awesome pub food, and then the bar with craft cocktails and wines. So it's
Nice.
kind of a cool little, you know, it it has its issues, but at the same time, it's a great partnership between all of us.
Yeah.
And what's funny is because, when we got open, everybody was like, "Oh, that's kind of a crazy idea. Why would you want to do that? Why would you rip out the kitchen?" Well, now we get an awful lot of calls from other breweries asking us, "Hey, so like, how do you do this permanent food thing? Because we're getting
Mhm.
tired of dealing with food trucks, or we really need food to keep people around because they show up, have one beer, and say they need to go to dinner."
Yeah.
So it was, it drawn about because we had that food truck experience and we did not want to continue down that
Yeah.
road.
No, no, I think it was a great decision. And the food is great as well. So I mean, really, like you said, really tasty food. It's definitely on our list of places to stop when we want, when we want to be able to have some food for available for people. We do quite a few after work get-togethers where the team comes out there and we do beer and appetizers and sometimes dinner. And it's really nice because we get to enjoy the beer. We get to stay longer because we're eating something. Because you're right. When we go to places that don't offer food, people will come for one beer and then leave because they don't want to, they don't just want to drink all day. They want to have something to eat too. And usually it's around supper time. So let's have some food. But no, I think it's a great idea. I love, that's the other thing that I really like about your space is you have a lot of space for people to come in and bring their families and you're not crowded into a small space. I do appreciate that as well.
Yeah, we love. I affectionately call it the White Dog Event Center. Uh, the downtown spot in Boise is huge. It's
Yeah.
a big tap room, and I love it because just between October and December, I think that I have 10 different uh, parties and groups, 150 people plus.
Oh wow.
So we could have
So I need to pay attention to your Facebook posts to make sure I don't come on a day's close because I was going to say the one thing I hate is when I don't realize that it's Cornhole Thursday and I show up and it's closed for cornhole. I don't know if you're still doing the closing on the days for.
We only closed, so we were closed permanently on Mondays and Tuesdays, just not
Monday
open at all.
Okay. Okay.
That was post-COVID. We were only open Wednesday through Sunday.
Okay.
And so we were closed completely on Mondays and Tuesdays. And we said, well, it was kind of one of those things, you're figuring out how to rework the space. You got to be flexible. What's going on with what we can, and there just wasn't enough people working downtown and going out.
Yeah.
And so it made no sense to be open on Mondays and Tuesdays. So we totally closed. It was a weird random. I was driving back from Colorado from visiting my family, and we were playing cornhole out in the yard. And I was driving back, and I'm thinking to myself, man, how can we use the space differently to drive a little bit of revenue when we can't just be open all day because it doesn't drive any revenue?
Yeah.
Man, that cornhole game was really fun last night. We do this. How can we use the space? And I literally pulled into town, went straight to the brewery and pulled out a tape measure and started measuring things and figured out that we had enough room for 3 sets of boards. And we started running cornhole leagues on Monday and Tuesday night. So instead of being open all day long and not having anybody show up, we were open just in the evenings for our cornhole league. And that was it.
Okay.
So that's why we ended up having the cornhole leagues.
Okay.
See, Denny, I think you had a little backwards. You don't want to look at the events coming up and stay away. You want to look at the events coming up.
Crash them.
Yeah,
you want to come?
Yeah,
we've been doing these lectures by Lushes events where it's drunk comedians getting up and talking about topics.
It's perfect.
Yeah, and we get like 100, 120 people in for them.
I'd go to that.
Yeah.
It's just I have been disappointed when I've come in, I've parked, I paid my 3 hours of parking because I was planning on coming in. I go to the doors, I see there's an event, and I'm like, oh crap, there's an event. I should have called and so for a while I was actually calling, and then I realized that you actually put the events on your Facebook page. So I'm like, oh, I don't need to call anymore. I'll just because I always hate showing up and then not being able to get in because I'm like, oh, dang, I really wanted to come in.
Yeah, walk in like you own the place, Denny. Come on.
Yeah, I get that though. That is the one. I hate closing to the public. And anytime that I can stay open to the public, even if it's a group of 60 or 80 people, I can put them on one side of the brewery and leave the other half open.
Well, and you've done that before. We've come in where you had one half roped off for an event, and then we just came in the other half and got to enjoy our beer and pretzel bites and pretzels and
part of
fries.
I love with how big the space is we can be flexible and do that kind of stuff.
Okay, Kris, now you can carry on.
Oh, I don't know where to start now, Denny. We've been all over.
A lot of questions.
We've got a lot of questions. We've been all over the place. So like,
you wanna go into the well, actually, why don't you go to the last question on the first section, and then you can go into the beer talk.
Ooh.
You have
good.
If I can mention something real quick.
Yeah,
good,
sure.
It kind of ties into the randomness thing, and I can't not mention it. Uh, the so when we were kind of growing and doing stuff, uh, Troy was the brewer. So Joe and JC ran the Bozeman location. Troy and I were in Boise. Things were kind of growing, doing a lot. We went through two different assistant brewers, and they went on to other careers, other things. And
Mhm.
so we finally said, we don't want to do this. We need a backup. If Troy goes down, if something happens,
Mm.
we need a brewer. And we wanted to make it an owner. We like having the owners tied in so that they
Okay.
don't use it as a stepping stone to just go to another brewery, you
Hmm.
know, grow and do it as that. So Troy actually brought in his right-hand man out of the oil fields, Matt. So Matt came in, and he's got the OCD anal cleaning side. So we could teach Matt to brew. Like Troy could teach him how to brew. You need the personality to be a brewer to understand the cleanliness and the
Hmm.
attention to detail. And so Troy trained Matt up on how to be a brewer. And so that's how Matt came in as a partner and came in on that side of things. And then again, completely random. Uh, one of There was a girl that was she was a senior in college on the rifle team the first year that I coached. So she was one of my shooters for a year. She was also on the U.S. shooting team and shot with my wife and on a bunch of trips all over the world. So Jamie, uh, she and her husband ended up uh, randomly moving to Boise for her husband's job. So, and they came to Boise knowing that they had a friend here.
Mm.
So when they moved here, Mike was just getting ready to make a pivot in his career path. We were planning on doing some stuff with the brewery. So here it is now, whatever, 5, 6, well, no, this would have been 15 years later that we get reconnected with Jamie and Mike. And then Mike came in as a partner also. So that's where, again, back to a completely weird, random, our whole lives, sporadic. So that's the current partnership. And Matt is the brewer. Troy had to end up going back to Wyoming for some
Oh.
family stuff. Still involved with recipe development, kind of, ordering ingredients, talks to Matt almost every day. He's still very active on the back end of things. Troy and I talk multiple times a week. He's just not on site at the moment. But that's so Matt is our current brewer. We none of us have titles. I don't care about that. But we could call Troy
Head brewer.
brewing operations, whatever.
That leads me
Director of
into the
brewing
next. Yeah,
operations.
Yeah, who cares what we call ourselves?
yeah.
But so that's kind of what the current thing. So I needed to bring up Mike and Matt also in the discussions.
Of course, we I guess we should have asked you the whole breakdown of the owners of the partnership that you guys have. So there's four partners right now, or is there more than four?
Troy and I are the majority partners, and then
Okay,
Mike and his brother Joe
and his
are
brother Joe
still.
are all okay.
So
Nice.
So, Denny, I feel like you leave this question for me a lot
Well then,
because
okay, then I'll ask this one.
no, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna
Okay.
do it. I'm gonna do it. Are you ready, Dan? All right. So, craft beer is currently in this state of transition. Breweries are closing, other ones are opening. Consumers are looking at other craft beer, what we call craft beer adjacent products. Um, you guys decided to get into the brewing game. I mean, you
Well,
guys are in
not
this
well.
brewing
They've been in
game
it for
kind
a
of. I
while.
mean, you've been in it for a while, but like you guys are in this chaotic time. Like beer is weird right now. I spoke to a lot of people this weekend. What kind of things are you guys doing to keep people in the tasting room, keep the beer flowing, that kind of thing?
Yeah, definitely. One, we've started shifting a lot of our styles to lighter styles, lower ABV. That's what people are wanting now.
Mm-hmm.
The hazy craze is over. Hazies are one of the fastest shrinking
Hmm.
markets in the country. And so at one point in time, we had 4 or 5 hazies on.
Mm.
And now we've got our regular hazy and our hazy pale. So we've got a lighter option. It's like people hazied themselves out, drinking nothing but hazies for 3 years.
Yeah.
Uh, you have people that are that are cutting way back on alcohol. For I think a lot of it's post COVID when everybody drank way too much. Now they're swinging to the other end of the pendulum and they're cutting way back. And so we carry a lot more non-alcoholic options.
Oh.
Uh, I really try to do a lot to booking all these events and putting a lot of effort into letting people know that we have a spot uh, for business socials. You want to come in from 4 to 6? Come on in. I can handle 35 or 40 people with no problem.
Mhm.
And we've got alternatives for you. And so we're looking at doing some hop waters, things like that. And so I think also distribution is becoming an insanely difficult and expensive proposition. Most of the breweries that are closing right now are that mid-range. Your big breweries that are large and they rely on distribution and they're nationwide, they're doing just fine. Your small breweries that are neighborhood breweries that are driving that focus locally and we're trying to keep connected to our customers, drive those events, stuff like that are there. Your middle guys that are they did the right thing at the right time. Well, it was the right thing at the time. 3 years later, it was completely the wrong thing to build a mid-sized brewery with 100,000 barrels of capacity, but now distribution is dried up and they're not big enough to have the cost savings and have the pull and be nationwide. They were regional distributors, but now customers have gotten fickle. They don't want a regional beer. They're either going local or they're going cheap. And your brewery devotees are going to the breweries. They're not buying it off the shelf anymore. And so if you look at all the breweries that are going under right now and all the equipment that is on the market, brewing tanks and brewing systems, they're worth the scrap metal.
Mm.
You want equipment right now, you can buy it pennies on the dollar. And it's because
used equipment though, right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it was those breweries that built thinking that they were going to continue expanding like the market was, but then the market shifted 180 degrees and now they've got too much in debt and too much in this big fancy brewery, but they're not big enough to survive on the distribution game. And so they're using 10% of their capacity and you can't make it doing.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting time. And we're always watching that and trying to see what's happening. And that's part of why, we've shifted a bunch and kind of trying to have more options for non-drinkers or for lower calorie drinkers, that healthier side of things. Like I say, and then the hop waters and things like that just give people more options. And then I think we're in a good spot. We're big enough that we can supply 2 locations and a little bit of distribution, but we're not relying on running canned product at 4 or 5% margins.
Yeah.
Or taking loss on it because you can't move it, And so that's why we've cut back so much on distribution is it just aluminum got expensive, can got expensive, labor got expensive, like I can't tell you how many phone calls I get a week from trucking companies. Oh, do you have any needs for your logistics? And it's like they're desperate because logistics has gotten expensive and shipping has gotten expensive.
Yeah.
So the people that used to rely on shipping beer halfway across the country, well, when your shipping cost doubles, your margin was already in single digits. That just chews up that margin. You can't survive on it. So I think that we are in a good position, and we're in we're in one of the two sweet spots. You're either super
Yeah.
big or you're small.
Yeah.
I think
No,
that
no.
mid range is getting difficult.
Yeah. No, it definitely is. So as far as I mean, you did cut back on your distribution. Do you pretty much only sell out of the two locations, or do you still distribute up to, within Idaho to maybe northern Idaho or eastern Idaho, or you just pretty much just focus everything in the local markets that you guys have the two breweries?
Primarily just around Boise now,
Oh,
the
okay.
Treasure Valley area.
Okay.
Yeah, at one uh, during COVID, uh, pre-COVID, briefly post-COVID. Yeah, we were statewide.
Yeah.
We were in all the Albertsons, Winco, Fred Meyer. You
Hmm.
know, we were in all those gas station chains. We were all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah. I went to three of them, three of the ones you just mentioned today, and I didn't see any. I was a bit worried. I'm like, wait a minute. I know I've seen them. I bought beer at these stores, and now I come here when I need it, and I don't, I couldn't find it. So now I understand why, and it makes sense. Yeah, if you can now now you just mentioned that post COVID, how yeah I mean if things were to go back to a point where you couldn't do point of sales, where you're not selling things at the brewery, are you then still prepared to make it through a pandemic type event, uh, by selling? Are you able? You still have your canning line, right? And you're still able to produce
Oh,
cans. Oh, you
no.
sold the
So
can.
we always did a mobile canner.
Oh,
Mm.
We,
mobile canning, and they went out of business too, right? The mobile
yep.
canner, I think.
So we had to pivot and find an alternative, a different way to do cans. Uh,
Okay.
and so, yeah, that's another factor. Like the mobile canners just got more and more expensive,
Yeah.
because their costs went up. It's like you go into a restaurant now, it's expensive. I get it.
Yeah.
But at owning it and being on the back end of it, we're not taking giant margins. We're not screwing
Yeah.
people. The
Yeah.
cost of food has gone up
Yeah.
40%, in the last 4 years. So that all adds into it.
Yeah.
Uh, and after going through the first COVID, if another COVID hit, no, it'd
We're
be
not going
done.
to make it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not going through, but I don't
Mm.
think the world would go through that. I mean, the whole world it'd be a
Yeah.
whole nother ball of wax.
How did you survive? What was the key factor that allowed White Dog to survive through COVID?
So we had two things that worked really well for us. We were at the peak of our distribution, and we were still growing really fast with our canned product.
Okay.
We had just gotten into all of those chain stores.
Hmm.
So we got open in 2017, and so after 3 years, we were just gaining good traction in all the chains. And so when COVID hit, we already had our product in there, and we were able to just pivot and do as much distribution as we could.
Okay.
We had to close for 6 weeks to customer traffic.
Yeah.
When we got back open, you mentioned it. One of our benefits was we're such a big location that we could spread out all the tables and still
Yeah.
have a ton of people inside.
Yeah. We showed up once you guys were open. We showed up.
Yeah. And, the places that were hurt really bad were long, narrow places that
Hmm.
might only be able to have 2 or 3 tables open. And we had a big open, high ceilings. We had the garage door. We had the tables spaced all the way, all apart. And so we had a lot of things go right. We were just fortunate in that we were able to get open right as soon as we could, still have a lot of butts in seats.
Hmm.
I think that's what a lot of new brewers don't think about. It's a pretty simple mathematical calculation to say, here's what a beer cost. Here's what my expenses are.
Hmm.
How many beers do I need to sell? And how many seats is that in a tap room?
Yeah.
So they think, well, I'll go cheap with a small tap room and a small brewing system. But if you can only seat 20 people, you can't physically sell enough beers
Yeah.
in a month to pay your expenses. So I think that
Yeah.
that's something that a lot of new brewers don't think about is you got to have a big enough space to have enough people to just sell enough beers to pay your bills.
Yeah. 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 Okay.
we were lucky that we had a big space, could handle a lot of people.
Okay, Kris, let's talk about beer real quick.
Beer.
I think we've already exceeded the hour and a half I told Dan I wouldn't exceed. So let's make this quick.
I mean, we covered a lot of it. I mean, geez, it's been well, as you put it, Dan, it's all random.
Random.
How much beer do you guys produce in a year?
We at our peak when we were doing all of our distribution stuff, we were over 2,000 barrels. If we wanted to ramp it super hard, we could probably do 2,500, maybe 3,000. But we're in, I don't know, 1,800 barrels because we cut back so much on distribution.
Okay. That's a hell of a cutback too.
Yeah,
But I mean,
but
it's more, it's since you're not putting it out there, it's only makes sense. What
we cut back on the lowest margin thing that we had. So does it actually help us?
in theory, yeah.
So,
Is there any type of beer that you guys specialize in?
no, that's one of the cool things with it's one of the fun things is that when we look at our beer list, we try to do everything from one end of the spectrum to the other for a couple of reasons. One, it keeps Troy and Matt entertained. If all that they did was IPAs, it can get pretty boring. If all that you do is hazies, it can get kind of monotonous after a time. And same thing for customers.
Sure.
And we all like a range of different beers. And so when we're getting low on a beer style, it's like, well, what's the season? We're going into winter. All right, we need a dark beer. Who has a dark beer that they like? I love German beers. So I would throw it out and say, a Dunkelweizen.
Mm-hmm.
I like a dark wheat beer.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Let's brew that. That fits. If we put all of our beers on a list, low to dark, high hop to low hop, we've got lagers, we've got blondes, we've got the middle ranges with the Marzens, Irish Reds, Ambers. We've got the IPA, we've got West Coast IPAs, we've got East Coast IPAs, Northwest IPAs. We've got sours. We've done porters. We've done the black IPA. We have the Irish stout, Scotch ales. Like, it's fun because it keeps it interesting. It keeps it interesting for the customers, and we throw out and we find beers that we like. And so
I noticed you haven't said Brute IPA.
we did a Brute a number of
did
years.
one.
We'll never get another Brute.
Oh god, that's one of those styles where we're like, we tried it. It was,
What was the other one that we did that we would never do again? The Brutes were it's weird. These, little trends come around and they kind of go.
Yeah. That's one that stands out to a lot of people is the Brute IPA, and I think that's an easy go-to when we go, what's a style that you wish was around that's kind of disappeared.
Yeah. And some people say Brute, but
then
I
we
laugh
cut connection
because,
and
I'm not a big Brute fan.
Kick them out of the Zoom chat room.
Yeah, I did want to say one thing that impressed me when you guys first opened up, and that was the variety of beer styles you had and how well you did them all. Even, coming in and opening up and having, the IPAs, the Scotch ale, the Hefeweizen, the blood orange Hefeweizen, and then throwing in that sour, right? And you guys nailed all the styles, which impressed me, that you could, everything I tasted was just like, wow, they really did a great job with this style. And then this other style comes in, it's totally different. And wow, they did a great job with that style as well. And that impressed me. My favorite beers, I love your Irish Red. I love the River Beer. The River Beer is a beer that I always recommend to people that just want something light and easy to drink, that just is refreshing and goes down really nicely. I like that beer, which I don't know if that's a big seller for you, but it's one that I always, lean to, especially at the end of the night when I was like, you know what, I want more beer, but I want something lighter, and it just is refreshing and good. Um, yeah, your Irish Red's really good. Your stout also really good. I mean, all the beer is really good, and I really enjoy the styles you do. And when when I order a beer, I pretty much just know I'm going to enjoy it. I never order, they always, and the other thing I want to say too, which we haven't mentioned, is your service is fantastic, right? The servers that you guys have working there, always attentive, coming to the tables, asking, bring us water, refilling the water pitcher if it's, the craft if it's empty. Really, really, I really appreciate that as well. Again, service experience goes a long way into having repeat customers, as well as a good beer. So good beer will get you so far, but if the service and experience is not great, it's not going to, carry you on long term. I want to mention one more thing that we haven't talked about. You guys have this unique thing on the bar,
Yeah.
the chilled rail. What do you guys call that? The
Yeah, it's called a frost rail.
frost rail. So, how does that? I mean, when I sit at the bar, like if I come alone, I usually sit at the bar and I'll chat with the beer tender, and I'll see little things on it, and I'll play with it. I'm always hesitant to actually putting my beer on it because I'm afraid that it's going to like stick, and I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to be soaked with beer. Is that a problem, or is it safe?
No. Oh yeah. So the frost rail is a channel within the bar, so it sits flush with the bar top, and it runs a special refrigerant that runs about 40 below zero, and so it chills that rail to the point that it builds a layer of frost on it,
Mm-hmm.
and it turns on in the morning, builds up the frost. If it's more humid, and so it takes the moisture out of the air, and that's what makes the frost.
Mm-hmm.
And so if it's super humid out, that frost can be like 3/4 of an inch thick. If it's a real
Wow.
dry day, it's just a little thin skim on it. But yeah, you could pour your beer on that frost rail, and 15 minutes later, it's gonna look like new.
Okay.
And so yeah, so when you're sitting at the bar, it enables you to set your glass there, and it keeps your beer cold while you're drinking. Uh, and it's really cool. It's white. It looks like frost. People always walk up and they think it's sand or salt,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they'll reach up and like touch it, and then they're like, "Oh, that's cold." So there's one company in the country that makes them. They're made in New Orleans, and they're all custom made, so you don't see them very often.
Mm.
But it's just a really cool. We ended up how we got it. We started out with the first one in Bozeman when they did the build out, and the guy that did the build out there, he built big fancy custom homes for people that are
Oh.
in Bozeman, Sun Valley area, uh, or Big Sky area. Sorry, and he had put those frost rails in a few private homes in their little bars and their basements and stuff, and so he told us about it. And so Troy and Joe put one in Bozeman, and it just became a white dog thing.
Okay.
So when we opened Boise, that's how we ended up.
Yeah. It is cool, and I mean, I like the little toy animals and the
Yeah,
cars and stuff.
we
I'll
always
go
have
in there and
toys
I'll
on.
play.
Yep.
You guys have
Okay.
toys now? I'm totally in now.
I
Yeah.
know
Why didn't we go there, Denny?
no, it was on the plan, but you left a day earlier than I
That's
had enough
true.
time, and we got to talking. The problem is as you can't tell, Dan, we like to talk. And we did visit a few breweries, I had plans on visiting more, and White Dog was on our list. It's just that we ended up just chatting so long with other people that we never made it to. And then Kris had to leave, uh, a little bit earlier than I was hoping, and we didn't make it to White Dog. But when he comes back next time, we're for sure going to White Dog. It was
Yeah,
on, like I said, it
yeah.
was on my list.
The list is forever continuing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of places to visit in Boise. I mean, and it's just growing. I think they opened like two more breweries this month.
Since I left.
Yeah, there's like, I mean, they're opening everywhere. I'm like, wow, Boise is a small town, but we got a lot of beer opening up here.
You guys are going to be
People
like the
do.
new Tampa. All right. Well, what about let's see. Let's see. Are there any breweries or beers that inspire you guys in your creative process, Dan?
Always the beers. It's fun to go go down to the bottle shops. Matt is always going around and exploring and trying everything. I love, like I say, I love all the German beers and Czech beers and stuff like that. So that's whenever we're looking at the beer list, and what we're going to do next. It's kind of our passions, and it's our interests as much as it is looking what the let's say the hot styles are, right? Come
Yeah.
up and things like that. But most of the time, those things like the Irish red. I mean, that I wanted to do a red because I grew up drinking Killian's.
Mm-hmm.
The Dunkelweiss, because of
Yeah,
German
that's a good one too. Yeah.
stuff like that. And so, yeah, they're all inspired by what we like and some of it comes down to what, what's interesting to brew. What's a style that maybe takes a different brewing technique that is interesting to do, or what's somehow we've become the fruit beer brewery in Boise, where it just happened that a lot of our fruit beers have happened to hit and become fairly popular. So, we had, for whatever reason, there was a sale on pineapple puree. All of our beers are done with all natural fruit purees. We don't use any artificial flavorings, stuff like that. And there was a sale on pineapple puree from the company that we got our blood orange and blackberries and everything else from. And so we just bought that and we're like, well, we'll try something and see what we can do. And so it just got interesting. And well, what does pineapple work with? And what kind of style can we do? So they figured out, and Troy and Matt came up with, let's do a pineapple IPA. It's become our number 1 seller now.
Oh, wow.
2-to-1 over everything else in the brewery. Like, it is crazy how popular that beer became. But it's just those little passions, and it's all what interests us. And what's a fun fruit to do something with, or what's a style that I enjoyed at one point in time, or if Matt goes back to Wisconsin to visit family, and goes to a brewery out there. Yeah, I had this style of beer out there. Let's try it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, makes sense. Makes sense.
So what's a style you guys are like itching to brew then? Where you're like, oh, this process could be a little, we don't know how it's gonna go.
We have 2 new beers that'll be coming out in the next month. One will be the black IPA, which we only do every couple of years. There's another new fruited beer with a different fruit that we've never used before. So that one will be coming. And those are always interesting because trying to figure out the science to figure out the fruit balance. We never want to have a big sweet fruit bomb.
Yeah.
Like I don't like peppered beers that when you drink it, fries your mouth.
Yeah.
Right. You want a stout with a hint of pepper on the back of it. Right. And so trying to figure out how to make those the balances. And you kind of mentioned it before that a lot of the beers, Troy just does an amazing job with making super balanced beers. Crazy.
Yeah.
And that they really complement each other and hitting the right ratios for something like the pineapple IPA. It's not, you don't want to go in someplace and be like, well, it doesn't taste like pineapple, or oh, that's too sweet like pineapple. So some of that is the difficulty of making a good balanced beer. Can be as simple as balancing those flavors out as much as it can be doing a different beer style.
Yeah.
Well, what fruit did you guys use on this up and coming beer?
It's a secret.
Oh,
peach. Oh, it's Chris's favorite.
That's my favorite.
Oh.
Yeah. Also looking at some prickly pear stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, doing some fun different things.
Okay.
You mentioned the Brute IPA is the one beer that, a dead style that should have just stayed dead.
Yeah.
We did a good dive into extinct beer styles, and trying to find something new and cool to do. The Vike yeast.
I was just thinking that one too. I was like,
Kvike
I haven't heard that one in a while.
I know it was big and then it died down, but those are some great beers that were.
Oh, that one that we did with that Vike yeast was amazing. It was an incredible IPA. It was really good. The one that was a complete flop was the Grodziskia. They also call it Polish champagne. So it was an old Polish style of beer, and it literally tasted like kielbasa water.
Oh,
You
Oh,
boiled up your
yum.
Yeah, you boiled up your sausages, dunked them,
oh,
and carbonated it and served it as beer. It was
oh.
freaking terrible. It was awesome. But if you ate it with like a kielbasa, it was incredible. Like that was one of those beer and food pairings that was
Yeah.
just amazing. But it was terrible to drink all by itself. That was
Nice.
Mm.
All right, Kris, you think we've asked enough for you on any more
I think
questions?
we've interrogated Mr. Jordan
I,
enough this
I,
evening.
yeah, I think Dan, you did a great job. I love the fact that we just covered so many random topics that aren't really random because we did put some nuggets in here to get those random nuggets, those random topics out. But you did a great job filling in all the gaps. Really enjoyed chatting with you, learning about White Dog. Um, Kris asked about breweries in Boise that I want to interview, and uh, you know, I only picked what 4 or 5 breweries,
Yeah.
and you guys were one of them because you guys are one of the standouts in the Boise area, in my opinion. And I wanted to have you on and talk about your beer to share with our listeners around the world. So when they come to Boise, they'll make sure they visit White Dog and try some of the great beers and visit your establishment. So Kris and I want to thank you for joining us. But before we let you go, um, is there anything you'd like to ask us? Or we also love to have our guest raise a glass to some people that they like to raise a glass to, like your staff or your wife or your whatever you want. You can raise a glass to people that are important to the success of you and White Dog.
Oh, absolutely. I would completely it's the staff. Uh
Yeah.
Most of my you mentioned it. Like you can go anywhere and get good beer. You can go anywhere and
Hmm.
get you have to have good service.
Yeah.
And my background as a coach,
Mm.
doing that for a lot of years, and now with the staff here, uh, people say it and it's kitschy, but you know my staff is my family,
Mm.
and I try to treat them like that.
Yeah.
I put an incredible amount of trust in them, and in exchange, I expect that from them as
Hmm.
well. And most of my staff has been with me for multiple years, uh, which is unusual in the service industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we don't have people leave often. I can count on one hand in 7 years how many people have left to go work somewhere else. They all leave to go to careers.
Mm.
They're working their way through college. They're doing something
Yeah.
like that. And they leave because they go get a career job. Uh, and our my staff, I always say they take such good care of me.
Mm.
You know, the first 2.5 years of having the brewery open, I was there 120 hours a week,
Mm.
7 days a week, open to close,
Mm.
nonstop, no vacations, 360 days a year. And it took me a long time to put enough trust in somebody else that
Yeah.
they would carry that on if I wasn't there. And that's really, really hard for a business owner. And I
Yeah.
don't feel like I have to do that at all anymore.
Oh,
They're
good.
just, they're awesome. I love them to death. They are so much fun. They're also bubbly and outgoing.
Hmm.
I get so many comments on, reviews that always mention the staff and how
Hmm.
friendly. And they're huge, and they're my family. I treat them like that. I have an immense amount of respect for them, and I love that they either treat me like a dad or like so.
Well, that's awesome, Dan. Now, no, like I said, I've had nothing but good experiences in my many, many visits to White Dog over the last several years, and I look forward to when I stop back in maybe this week to grab beer so I can send to Kris.
That's
Uh, if I see you, I will come say hi and we can chat a little bit more over a beer.
Yeah,
Uh,
say hi. We'll get you some crowlers of Irish Red. stuff like that
Oh,
we
I
don't.
love. Oh, yeah, yeah. I love the Irish Red, and I love the Black IPA when it comes out too. It's my one of my favorite styles.
Here in a couple weeks. So
Excellent. All right, Dan. Well, thank you very much for joining us, and have a great evening. And I'll see you at the brewery.
Thank you,
thank you.
Dan.
Nice
All
to
right.
meet you.
You
Hope
as
you guys
well.
get
All right. Thank you.
Take
thanks,
care.
guys.
All right, Kris. Guess what I have to do?
You forgot
I
to
have to
check your
go.
mail.
I forgot to check my mail.
Yeah. It's Veterans
And
Day. There is no mail today.
there's no mail
You
today.
gotta pee.
I gotta pee. So give me just a minute to go do that, and we'll finish off the show.
I'll do the same.
Okay. Okay. By the way, I opened up my Hello Sailor, and it leaked all over my floor.
Mine didn't leak. I caught it before it did.
I opened it, and all of a sudden my leg was wet, and then I'm looking down, and my floor is still covered in beer. When we get done recording, I will clean up my mess.
I opened it up and I cracked the can and I was talking to you and I looked down and it was just about to come out of the top and I took a quick sip real fast.
Yeah, that's weird that happened. That's the first one that had done that to me. I'd had like I well I've had a few of these, but it was unfortunate because now I've got a mess under me. But it's okay. If I
At least it's
hopefully I'll
not on
remember to clean it up.
at least it's not on your keyboard.
No, no, not on my keyboard this time. So
Yeah.
all right, Kris. Well, let's go ahead and finish off this show. Great interview with Dan. Again, I just love the fact that every interview we do, we get a different take on opening up a brewery, the business of a brewery, how they're succeeding. Interesting that they have actually cut back on distribution and focused
Yeah.
on-premise sales because that's where the biggest margin is. Which I agree that is the biggest margin, and I just hope it works. It just was unfortunate that I couldn't find their beer in the stores that I could go grab some today, but it's okay. I'll
But it
just go
makes
to
a
the
lot of
brewery.
sense. I love the fact that I mean, I'm sure a lot of businesses do that, but or do things like that where they're looking at, hey, you know what? We're only making a few pennies on every one of those
Yeah,
cans that we send out there,
yeah,
and just like you said, hey, our marketing has to change. Things
mhm,
change in the way that the beer is going out. Distribution's changing, um, and and man, it's just they're looking at their low spots and they're going, okay, well, what can we do to change it? And they're going in
yeah,
and changing it. And I mean,
yeah,
that's business ownership 101.
yeah.
Um,
Don't just follow what you've always done. If you need to make a
yeah,
change because if you wait too long, it might be too late.
yeah.
So
Well, real quick, Jeremy
yeah,
Garrison is right up the street from you at Wood Pizza.
yeah. Three Wood Pizza.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Three Wood Pizza.
yeah. So
Jeremy,
Yeah,
It
he
looks
lives
like
by
you
me as well.
it looks like you might be either having a couple beers at Three Wood Pizza or you're just fat fingering it like I do when I type on my phone.
Yeah.
Kyle Marrero hopped on and said, cheers. And Mike Blanchard, I asked what everybody was drinking this evening. Mike Blanchard said, ice water.
Ice water,
I
man. That's been
didn't,
a real good weekend. Hey,
well,
happy
he didn't.
Veterans Day to you, Mike. I meant to text you today, and I totally forgot to wish you a happy Veterans Day. So thanks for jumping on and listening to us. Also, we just had White Dog on. When you came to visit the first time to Boise, we took you and your dad to White Dog and had a great time. So hopefully, if you listen to this interview, you'll get some more insight behind the scenes from Dan Jordan. But Kris and I, talking about Mike Blanchard, Kris and I would like to thank all of our Patreon supporters because this episode is brought to you in part by our satisfied Patreon supporters like Mike Allen, Bill Slemmer, Amanda and Kevin Argauer, Mike Blanchard, Tara Carlson, Jim Kutzel, Alex Fuchs, and Eric Scotty Ward, who are our virtual producers, and Tom Byrne, Jeff Seiler, Johan Halberg, Chalad Massa, Mark Church, and Eric Gronley, who want to buy us a virtual beer. If you enjoy the content we provide, we invite you to support the show by toasting your host or buying us a virtual beer or even becoming a virtual producer. You can explore the options on our support page by visiting patreon.com/taptocraft. And we had some feedback since our last episode. We had some feedback from Mr. Eric Scotty Ward. He wrote us an email, and this is a nice email. There's a lot of good information in here. So let's just go and read this. Nice interview with Bert's Brewing. Rob and Sydney Harrelson, and with Rob and Sydney Harrelson. As a one-man show, you moved it along with great questions. Well, thank you, Eric. It's always tough to do these alone when I need my co-pilot here to help me out. But you know what? I survived. It would have been better with Kris.
You did it like a champ.
I did it. But thank you for the kind words. He said, I sent an email to Rob and Sydney after the show with congratulations on a great show. That day, Sydney responded with a sweet appreciation message. For those who are listening that have a business, brewery, podcast, or something else, answering a good gesture email is a key element to your business. I do email many of the show guests and others who impress me in my day-to-day travels. Always a genuine message wishing them good luck in a way, good luck in what they do. Believe it or not, some never answer. Not saying the same day or week, but a response of even a thank you is remembered, especially if I have a specific question. And I do remember those who don't take the time to respond. For me, it's less likely that I will be patronizing their business and spending my dollars. Just a rant on that. Hey, that's not a rant. That's just, just kindness, right? Just
It's
paying
kindness.
it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
That's going to make it a whole lot easier what's the saying? People buy from people that they like.
Yeah,
Well,
that's true.
Hey,
Yeah.
Great show. Real easy to go. Thanks.
Yeah. Just a simple thanks or anything is, and that's kind of, again, that makes our show a little bit different than others out there. Is that we are, we love focusing on the community, building community, and the only way to do that is to actually be human and respond back when people, provide you feedback, whether it's positive or negative. Remember, I even comment back on negative stuff. I'm
Yes,
okay.
you did.
That's how John Ream and I became friends, is that he was writing in to correct me in something I said, and I didn't write back or ignore him. I wrote back and said, thank you, I appreciate that, and then we were friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
So but yeah, no, I applaud you, Eric, for taking that time and writing to show your appreciation. I think that is fantastic. I wish more people did that. I love it. Kris loves it.
Yep.
And as you can tell, we promote it all the time. He says, anyway, this week I listened to shows 100 and 101. Wow, he is moving up the episodes. Thanks for the content. Keep up the hard work on this forum. Well, thank you again, Eric. We really appreciate your feedback and you listening. And we'll keep shouting you out.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't get to meet up with him this weekend.
I know. I was hoping that you guys would run into each other, but I'm sure the Badass Beer Fest is a pretty big place, huh?
Yeah, I mean, there was so much going on. There were a lot of I feel like there were more breweries there this time than there were in the past.
Hmm.
Um, I got to see so many people. Unfortunately, Eric wasn't one of them.
Yeah.
And it I feel like this is the one and only beer event that I ever go to anymore. And shout out to David Doble over at Tampa Bay Brewing Company and his team for putting on another awesome event. But it's I mean, between chatting with Miguel, always a classic for this time of year. Chatting with Miguel at No More Pours podcast and grabbing people to come over and chat with us, and you know, having conversations with people that we know and bumping into, and just it was like a whirlwind. And then we had to leave at about 3:30, 3:45 because our daughter had homecoming that same night. So
Oh, wow.
it's about an hour away. So we had to rush home, make sure she was ready, get her out the door, get pictures taken, all that good stuff. So I mean, it was a hell of a day. It was a lot of fun though. We had a blast.
Wow. Yeah. Well, great. Well, there's still other opportunities for you guys to meet up. In fact,
He
he
lives
made a
10 minutes away from me.
I know, and he made a comment that he's still trying. I didn't put this in here, but he learned about Tavor from the shows,
Yeah.
and now he's ordering beer from Tavor. But he said he still can't find Jubilel, so maybe I need to send a care package his way with some Jubilel
That's a
in
shame
cans. Yeah,
because that's a good solid beer
yeah.
for this time of
You guys
year.
don't get Jubilel. You get Suits now, but no
No,
Jubilel yet.
I believe I think I was chatting back and forth with him because he asked me if I knew where to get it, and I said normally if I'm looking for a beer, like I was hoping Deschutes was going to distribute it down here,
They
but
should,
he said no. He checked with
and they're not going to distribute it,
and
huh?
they're not going to be sending Jubilee down here. But I said normally what I do is I just I find someone, whether it's a friend or a friend of a friend in an area that can get it, and I just have them ship it to me. I said,
Oh.
but it's not always the cheapest option because beer's heavy. Um,
Okay. Well, when I send your gift package out, I need to send one to Eric as well. He did send me some beers that I've been enjoying. I drank them all already from Coppertail,
ah,
the Hazy IPA, which Crowd
Cloud
Pleaser. I don't
Dweller.
know. Cloud Dweller, yeah. And then also the Oktoberfest, which is really good.
Oh, always good.
Oktoberfest,
Yeah.
yeah. So
They just had
both great beers.
their 10-year anniversary, I think it was 10 year. Yeah. Um, uh, those guys have been putting out pretty solid beers.
Yeah.
And one of the people we were hanging out with at the beer fest was JJ, their head brewer over there.
Well, maybe it's time to get JJ on the show in the new year.
He's a trip, man.
Okay, let's get a trip on. Yeah, let's plan that. Get back to some Tampa. You know, we did talk to Coppertail, somebody from Coppertail on the.
It was Dr. Ken Fouch. Well, not
Oh
doctor,
yeah,
but it was Ken Fouch
Dr. Ken.
with the guys over at Fermented Reality.
From In Reality, yeah. So
Yeah.
we need to have them on. And this time, send me beer. They can send me beer. I never got
Yeah.
beer from him. He said he was going to send me
No.
beer. He never did. So now we need
Well,
to have him.
we're swinging into the end of the year, Denny. We just had what, five Idaho breweries that we just talked to?
No,
Four?
I had sent
Three?
you five. Only three actually that we got hooked up.
So we had
So we
Mother
had
Earth, Bert's Brewing, and White Dog.
Birch Brewing and now White Dog. Three of
Okay.
the five we actually
Okay.
got set up.
But still, we're between those interviews and we still have all these beers from pre-Monster Cigar City to go through.
I know. I was planning on drinking one tonight before I realized we had an interview to do.
I know what we're doing next week or in 2 weeks,
The
episode
next show.
270.
Actually,
Yeah.
maybe we need to double up these El Caldor clubs.
Oh my
Two
God.
14% beers a night.
Oh.
We're gonna be wasted.
Listen, I appreciate that you're such a badass, but no, thank you.
Yeah, that
Um,
won't work. That won't
But
work.
yeah, so swinging into the new year, we do have we do have some breweries lined up, or a brewery so far lined up for the new year. Tractor Brewing. You can go check them out at getplowed.com, by the way.
Yeah, getplowed.com.
Great website.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna close out the new year, or close out this year with just Denny and I
Yeah.
doing our original gangsta stuff.
Yeah. I think mainly because the interviews are great, but it takes effort to prepare them.
Yeah,
Get the beer
it
set.
does.
Now holiday season's coming. I don't want to be,
Mm-mm.
with the hurricanes. I was shocked that Kris actually got all the beer like on time, because that was incredible.
Yeah.
But it's just with the Christmas time, it's going to be harder and harder to make sure we get beer and stuff. So we figure we wait till the new year, start off fresh with some fresh interviews, and we can just go back and talk about our favorite breweries, beginning with the letters U and V in our next episode, and maybe do some other content instead, and open up some tintackers.com mini tackers a month. I think we're going to get 2 this month, because Jen was on vacation last month and
Good for her.
didn't send it out.
Yeah,
And also, also Eric, Scotty Ward, sorry we're delayed on getting your prize pack. It'll be in the mail
It's
shortly.
coming. It's coming.
We're slacking over here. It's not Jen's fault. It's our fault. So just stay with us. We're okay. It's been a rough few weeks. But hey, you know what? We had some voicemail. You want to do some voicemails, Kris?
Yeah. Ready to go when you are.
Yeah. So Mr. Jim Kudsall, I think he's gonna. You know what? I just got these today, and I did not have time to listen to them. These are gonna be fresh.
Ooh.
3 voicemails from Jim. I think he's gonna be talking about his trip that him and Tara took the last month over to
Europe,
Romania, Transylvania. I think.
Well, let's find out.
All the towns. Yeah, let's find out. So here's Jim Kudsall.
Hey guys, Jim Kudsall here. It's been a little while since I called, so I thought I'd chime in a little bit and let you know what's going on this end of things. Tara and I went to Europe last month. I guess it's about almost a month ago now. And we had some good beer experiences while we were there. We flew from D.C. into London, spent a day there, and found this pub that was around the corner from our hotel. Nice thing about the beers in London, you get 20-ounce pints, what they call a proper pint. And prices are pretty good. I mean, if you, even taking into account the exchange rate and the fact that you don't have to pay tax or tip on top of what the advertised price is, I would say it would work out to the equivalent of maybe, $6 US for a 20-ounce pint.
That's a great price.
So beer prices are pretty good there. Not only that, the beer is pretty good, depending on what it is that you're interested in. So that first night there, we got involved. I got this British-style pale ale, so it's maybe a little bit maltier, less hoppy than what you would experience back here in the States. But it was at a nice neighborhood pub. If I lived around there, I would certainly be hanging around at this pub. Very nice atmosphere. In fact, we met a few people there. We had nice conversations and all of that. I guess very typical of British pubs. I also had a Guinness there. And the Guinness, if you're drinking Guinness stout over in the British Isles, it tastes so much better than what you would get back here for obvious reasons. You don't have all of the shipping and who knows how well it's handled on the way, and and all of that. So that was a good experience. And then we also had this at the same place, what's called Tennant's Lager by Caledonian Brewery. Light lager. It's
on to the second one.
Okay, Jim again, part 2. I'll just leave it there for our. That was just our first night in London. We're in Europe for 17 days, so
guys, there's 11 more voicemails of this. No, I'm just kidding.
We took the train through the Channel to Brussels, Belgium,
Ooh, nice.
And that was our next stop. And we checked in the hotel, and it was a Renaissance hotel right across the common from the EU headquarters. It so happened to be. And as part of the hotel, the package we had at the hotel, we had free drinks in their executive lounge, the club lounge they call it. And they had this Belgian triple. It was in a bottle, 7.8%. It turned out to be the best beer we had in all of Belgium. We spent 3 nights there.
Oh, wow.
In Brussels. It was made by a local brewery with their hotel label on it. It was a Belgian triple, by far the best beer in Belgium. We had a few other experiences. We went to this little, everyone spoke French at this little restaurant. It was like a hole-in-the-wall place. But they had a nice white lambic on draft, and really, really nice. It went very well with our lunch there. We also stopped in at the Delirium Cafe. Yes, it's the same Delirium as the brewery. This is like a little outpost that they have. They must have had like 20 different of their beers on tap. We tried several of them. All of them were really, really good. One of them was Nocturnum or something like that, 8.5%. Really enjoyed that. I think I gave that a 4.5 cap rating. A lot of dark fruit,
trying to think about
big body. Even though it's 8.5%, you wouldn't know it to taste
it's really
it.
good.
Tara had a few there too. She had this sour that the barmaid said, no one ever orders this. Everyone hates this. But Tara seemed to like it. So that was a good experience. Then we went on to Romania. The whole purpose of
there's into 2. Now we're getting to Romania. And
okay,
part 3.
Jim, part 3. Hopefully last one.
I love it.
We did go to Romania to visit family. Beer was not very memorable in Romania. Not probably the most memorable thing about Romanian beer. It's cheap. You go out to
we got to take the balance.
A bar, and it's about $3 for a half liter, a little more than a pint.
All right.
So if you're on a budget, great place to go for beer. After 5 nights in Romania, we went back to England. We spent probably another week in England.
Wow.
And I'm not going to go through each individually, but we were enamored with cask beers. We really got into cask. We went down to this town on the coast, Eastbourne, in UK, and small little town. I think we drank a very lot of English bitters, NESBs, extra special bitters. And I think those beers were designed for cask. If you're into cask beer, you got to drink ESBs or just regular bitters in the UK. Far and away, best beers to have on cask. Anyway, don't want to get too involved with each individual one, but we had a great time. Tara and I had a great time. We would certainly go back. Good beer experiences. You can follow us on Untappd if you're interested. So keep up the good work, guys, with the podcast. We really enjoy it. We follow you along all the time when we're on our little road trip. So take care. Just wanted to fill you guys in. Bye-bye.
All right. Well, thank you, Jim. We appreciate your voicemail. Sounds like you guys had a great time. 17 days is a long time to be traveling and drinking beer. But, hey, we appreciate you. I mean, I was following along on Untappd, and I was waiting for the voicemail to show up to talk about your trip. So it sounds like a good trip, and too bad the beer wasn't that memorable in Romania or Transylvania, Castle Transylvania, whatever
That's disappointing.
Count Dracula's.
Seriously.
Dracula's.
No Vlad the Impaler Pale Ale. Vlad the Impale Ale.
Impale Ale.
Yeah,
Impale Ale.
That's upsetting.
But yeah, if you want to be like Jim and leave us a voicemail, we'd love to play your voicemail on the air, learn about your craft beer journey, or just talk about the breweries you visited on a road trip. You can call us at 208-536-3359. Too many numbers because, like you're 3 in and you don't remember numbers. I mean, like us.
I am actually. Thank you.
Yeah, I know. You can call us at 208-53-ODDLY, and we'd love to hear your voicemails. If you're too shy, we also have the old methods of writing us an email at taptocraft@gmail.com or on Facebook at facebook.com/taptocraft. Don't forget, we do have a website at taptocraft.com. And every so often, the service does something that messes up our site, but I fix it. I fixed it again just not too long ago. I didn't realize they broke it a second time, but I fixed it. We have a Discord server at taptocraft.com/Discord, just a private community server for just like-minded individuals who want to talk about beer, only from Tap to Craft. No other people are going to be in there messing with you. So you can join us there. Kris mentioned we are having an upcoming guest coming on January 20th. Yes, we're taking a hiatus from interviews for a little bit. Tractor Brewing just won some medals in the GAB at the Great American Beer Fest this year. And they want to talk about their brewery and get some the word out. They're out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. New Mexico is making some good beer. So Tractor Brewing is the latest one to be recognized. And Kris, this show is already.
We're gonna have to skip the new and noteworthies, Denny.
Let's just close this show out, Kris. What do you think?
I think that's a great idea.
All right. So who would you like to raise a glass to tonight?
Well, I'd love to raise a glass to Dan Jordan from White Dog Brewing. Thank you for coming on with us, chatting about White Dog and all the random happenings over there. A lot of it really was just hey, this person's a commercial real estate agent if you ever need some commercial real estate. Yeah, that kind of stuff. That's probably my favorite part about interviewing folks like this is just the random. Here's how we got where we are.
Yeah.
So cheers to you, Dan, and all the folks over at White Dog. We appreciate the time, guys, and the awesome interview. Denny, who would you like to raise a glass to this evening?
Well, I'm going to raise my glass. Our Patreon toast goes out to Kevin and Amanda Argauer. Thank you for your patronage. We really appreciate you guys sticking with us for so long. And again, we're going to make a trip out there. Just as soon as Sarah can travel, we will be out there and see you guys and enjoy each other's company once again. Of course, it's Veterans Day, and being a former serviceman, I want to raise my glass, thank all those who have served and are currently serving in the U.S. military services, protecting our freedoms thank you for your service, and we hope that all who are deployed are able to return home safely to their families very soon. And Kris, why don't you go ahead and raise a glass to our sponsor?
We want to raise a glass to the folks over at Tin Tackers, the provider of sweet metal beer signs that will make your walls happy. Tin Tackers has a vast selection of embossed aluminum beer signs, perfect for your garage, home bar, or man cave. They have the biggest selection with the best prices. They also have a mini Tacker of the Month club, a club just for craft beer lovers who collect tin tackers. It's a surprise in your mailbox every month. Go visit their website at tintackers.com and be sure to use the promo code TAPTHECRAFT at checkout to save 10% on your entire order and to let them know we sent you.
And you can find the beers and the links to the White Dog Brewing on our show notes located on the show post at taptocraft.com. And it is last call. It is time to bring this long show to a close. We want to thank you for downloading, listening. We ask you to please tell a friend. And of course, subscribe on your favorite podcast app. And as a reminder, we release a new show every 2 weeks. Now go out there and spread the good word of craft beer.
Cheers.
Cheers.